Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. We are here starting a new run as the United States to promote freedom in the West. So, let's get started with taking a look at our journal entries. We've got the slavery debate to start out, and then we've got the Seminole Wars. The slavery debate. Slaveholders and abolitionists are engaged in increasingly rancorous debate across the nation. Sooner or later, the arguments will stop being made with words and start being made with bullets. So this will complete if we've got slavery banned for 10 years. If we do that, we'll lose the Missouri Compromise, which increases the strength of our aristocrats and our Southern planters, landowners group. This will fail if we get a civil war. So basically, this almost never happens these days, as far as I can tell. But basically, the way we do this is we got to ban slavery without a war and keep it banned for 10 years. So, our other event is this. And by the way, there's a whole event chain if we do the Civil War. So, we'll see how that goes. I am planning on banning slavery eventually, but I'm not going to make a priority of it because the event chain is different than it used to be. The Seminole Wars. By the terms of the Adams-Onis Treaty, Florida is ours to govern as we see fit, and by the terms of the Treaty of Payne's Landing, the Seminoles should be removed to reservations further west. Led by stubborn chiefs, however, they refuse to either submit to our rule or relocate themselves to Oklahoma. We must find a way to bring Florida fully under our control. So, this will complete if the USA owns all of Florida. If completed, every Muskogee and Pop in Florida will move to Oklahoma, triggers an event, the Seminole Peace. This will fail if all of Florida is owned by the Seminole, which are this country here. And if so, we lose our claim on Florida. Let me see, do we have other event chains? We have Texan statehood in the works. That's right. We observe the conflict between Mexico and Texas with great interest. Should the Texan Republic prove triumphant, we should try to sway them toward joining our righteous union. Finally, one journal entry I want to draw your attention to, in addition to all the default ones. Manifest Destiny. This requires us to have researched nationalism and have an interest in the Pacific Coast. It makes the Southern planters happy and the intelligentsia unhappy, and gives us a whole slew of claims on the West, as well as 24 infamy, which we will need to be conscientious about managing. So, we're going to keep an eye out for that. Let's take a look at our tech situation. Production tech is rock solid. We've got all of the tier 1s, plus railway and intensive agriculture. That's a really good place to start. Military, we've got all the tier 1s, plus screw frigate, power of the purse, general staff, and percussion cap. That's also an excellent place to start. Society, we've got all of the tier 1s. We've got dialectics, egalitarianism, central archives, central banking, and corporate charters. So overall, we're doing really well technologically. In fact, we can spring directly for nationalism, and I'm gonna. After that, we'll circle back to water tube boiler. That's going to help out our mines. Nitro is going to do the same. And then we'll see how and where we want to go. Let's take a quick run at our production methods. Food industries, we absolutely want to be using sweeteners wherever possible. Do we want to be using pot stills? Not yet, necessarily. Furniture manufacturers are producing some luxury furniture. We don't need to produce too more than that. Glassworks, we are producing some... oh my gosh, brain. Ceramics. Some ceramics. We're going to swap over to doing all of that. Tooling workshops, we got steel tools. Paper mills, we got sulfite piping. We got decent starting industry in all categories, including having our own motor industries. That's pretty rad. Plenty of shipyards, arms industries, munitions plants. We lack artillery foundries, it appears. Take a quick run through here and make sure I'm not making that up. Alright, beautiful. So, let's go ahead and queue in some artillery foundries. We're not going to build those immediately, because the first thing we're going to do is rework our taxes. We want to go up to medium, and we want to put some consumption taxes in here. We want to tax services. We want to tax tobacco. We want to tax... I should be saying tax. We should attack tobacco. And then we want to tax coffee. And then we're going to use 200 political power. Oh, we can't suppress the southern planters because they're in the government. Well, alright. Taxes for everyone then. We'll do luxury furniture and liquor. This gets us a nice healthy buffer. It's going to drop standard of living by a hair, but I'm not too concerned about that. Next, we got iron frame construction and a bunch of construction sectors. So let's build those up. Let me see. We've got one... Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York are going to be our main industrial centers. Let's build a couple in Indiana as well. And maybe some in Illinois. Oop, not that many. Not that many! Let me see. That's going to bring us up to 12. That should be plenty for the immediate early game. William Cramp and Sons, I don't love this company. Extra Navy offense and defense is nice, but not ideal. So from here, we'll throw this artillery foundry at the bottom of the construction queue and get ourselves started. I don't want to do any law changes immediately because I don't want to piss off my interest groups. Again, we're doing pretty okay from a laws perspective. I could do internal affairs. I don't necessarily want that at the moment, but it's something we could get into. Primarily, our development's going to focus on building up our market, which of course has a lot of needs. We're going to need a lot of steel, a lot of wood, a lot of iron, a lot of paper, and a lot of fertilizer and furniture. We're actually a little short on grain as well, and clothes, but none of that's going to be a priority because we're building a bunch of construction sectors. So that's going to have really high iron cost, and that's going to be what we're going to need to function. The atmospheric engine. Through the widespread introduction of the atmospheric engine in the mining industry, productivity is at an all-time high. When the steam first began to pump and the wheels go round at so many revolutions per minute, what are called business habits were intended to make the life of man run in harmony with the steam engine, and his movement rival the engine in punctuality. I'm sure we can squeeze even a little more from these machines, extra mines throughput, or perhaps there's an even better way, progress on water tube boiler. I'm going to go with progress on water tube boiler, actually. Let's do a little diplomacy. Who can we rival, first of all? Before we go anywhere, who can I create problems for? Brazil, Netherlands, let's do Netherlands and Spain. I'm not afeard of either of them. And we're going to start improving relations with the great powers. Let me see, France we're at 30. Britain we're also at 30, so I can get them up to 50, no problem. Austria, I can't. Prussia, I cannot. Don't want to improve with Spain. Only concerned about Portugal. Belgium? Can't reach. Alright, that's fine. We're currently cordial. Now I could form my power block right away and start stealing the little territory. So, who do I want? If I pulled a country into the territory, it might be IT. So if I made IT a protectorate, no one would get involved, it looks like. So let's get started. Actually, let's build up our power block first. So, let me see. We want an ideological union. The glorious union. Let's see some random options. Democratic ring, anti-monarchist Congress, Washington Convention. That's fun. I'm going to call us the Monroe Doctrine Pact. Is Monroe spelled with an O or a U? I'm so good at things. Yes, with an O. So, for our logo, let me see. I'm a fan of the 4 pattern. Let's do the split pattern. Shield frame, cross swords is nice. For the top, we'll do lion. For the sides, we'll do griffin. We'll do antelope for the sides. That's fun. Map pattern, we got a bunch of map patterns. Let me see. I'm very partial to one of these. Ooh, 15 is pretty rad. I'm partial to 17, but I'm gonna go with 15. Secondary color, I think we'll do blue and white, and then red for our logo. Ooh. And for the center, let me see. I like that anchor, actually. Knowledge is nice. Bear is pretty cool. I like lion. I like going with the lion theme. But I think we're going to go with anchor. And what I'm actually going to do is make the anchor white. Oh. Uh-oh. I think this might have been an error. So if I do that... Okay, alright, it's saved. Alright. So, not too particular about the statue. Let's go with the square. We'll go with the... See, I should have planned this in advance. We'll go with the pointing man. The pointing man is fun. We'll put a top hat on his head. Maybe a sword, if we got a sword. There we go. Excellent. Thousand hands. Hecat and Kyries. Let's give him wings. Let's give him wings. Alright, confirm that. And now, we'll add our starting principle. Last time I started with creative legislature. I still like creative legislature a lot. So what does this do? Creative legislature baseline is 33% enactment stall chance, minus 33% enactment stall chance. So it reduces it by 33%, not 33 percentage points. So if you got 12% stall chance, it makes it 8%, which is not as powerful as it would be if it were the entire block, although it does make things with a very high stall chance more able to be passed. So that is good. When you get the second one, it's extra political movement activism reduction from approved enactment and reduced activism increase from disapproved enactment. So in other words, when you mess with your movements, it's less impactful on their... movements are likely to be less activist. That's the bottom line of that. And then number 3 is maximum law enactment setbacks. I tend to have notoriously terrible luck with law enactments, so I'm going to go with creative legislature. Ideological truth is the other one. At level 1, it reduces the cost of suppression and bolstering and increases reduces the popularity of agitators and opposition. At level 2, it increases party whip impact on ideological coherence. A bonus or penalty, the effect that the party whip has on ideological opinion for the rest of the party members. Party whip keeps the rest of their party members' ideologies in check. The impact on legitimacy that interest groups in government have when their ideologies conflict with others is reduced by 50% if they're not aligned with the party whip. The party leader acts as the whip. Alright, so basically, what this line item means is it's higher legitimacy for having a bunch of parties in the government that don't necessarily agree to each other. That's actually really good for America. I might start with ideological truth. But let's take a look at the others, just so that I can get that as soon as I can, because my legitimacy is pretty weak. And then ideological truth 3 is 25 minimum legitimacy. That's mid. I guess it lets you do whatever you want ideologically, because when you have 25 legitimacy, you can always pass laws. Let's you put a deeply unpopular party into the government in order to pass laws. That's actually probably very good for doing a lot of changes to laws. So I think where we're going to go is we're going to start by taking a run at the party whip impact on ideological incoherence. And I think that's going to be a pretty substantial increase to our legitimacy, and that's going to make things easier as the USA. After that, maybe we'll circle back around to creative legislature. I do want to create a customs union. So I will do market unification at some point, and we'll figure out what I want to do with the other slots. But for now, let's go ahead and form that power block. Shabam zone. Yes, I know. the children will all be mad. So, now if I take Haiti, Britain is still unlikely to intervene. Let's do it. Very good. They have chosen to fight. So, IT has 22 battalions. I could easily create an army larger than that. I'm going to... Let me see. I'm going to combine my fleets. And I'm going to rename the New York Fleet the American Navy. Let me see. What kind of an army is this, first of all? Mostly irregulars, light infantry, cannon, artillery. Second Haitian Army is... Oh, no, I'm looking at all of them. No, Second Haitian Army is a regular army. Alright, so I shouldn't be too... I shouldn't have too much of a problem. So we'll grab the regular army. We'll mobilize. We'll throw a few extra units of skirmish infantry in here. Raise those conscripts, and then we'll put 2, 3, 4 units of artillery in here, and 1 unit of cavalry. We'll do 2 units of cavalry. And we've got those conscripts raised, so pretty soon we'll get attacking. Or once this is done. I'm going to mobilize these other armies. I don't necessarily think I'm going to need them, but we'll see what happens. Worcester v. Georgia. President Andrew Jackson has defied the ruling of the Supreme Court and ordered the removal of the Cherokee people to the Indian Territory. What does the Supreme Court's opinion matter? All we need to do is build a fire under them, and when it gets hot enough, they'll move, and what's ours will be ours. Is that even legal? It's not. So this adds the Indian removal journal entry. Settlers want the Cherokee Nation to vacate coveted land. The President, in defiance of the Supreme Court, has ordered that the Cherokee Nation should migrate to the Indian Territory in the West. So this will complete if America has no colonial affairs enacted, if the base acceptance of Cherokee in the United States is greater than or equal to 60, or no Cherokee pops remain in the United States. If completed, the removal is not prevented, the Cherokee people will be forced to migrate at great loss of life. So the Cherokee people are currently living in Georgia, if I recall correctly. Yes, 8.9 thousand of them. 6.9 thousand in South Carolina. 3.6 thousand in North Carolina. Any others? Close to 1,000 in Alabama. Any in Florida? Doesn't look like it. In Virginia, none in... Oh no, a few in Tennessee. 9.7k in Tennessee. More than in... Oh, and some in Arkansas as well. Oh, big population of Cherokee people in Arkansas. Alright, so we're talking a total of like... I guess 50,000, 60,000 people. It's not great. So that's going to increase the size of the Indian Territory. We're doing a lot of colonization. Let's go ahead and... Colonization's already maxed. We've got public schools already, so let's go ahead and increase investment to those. It's going to cost us 129 bureaucracy, but that should be fine. And we'll set the game going. So this army is going to get up to... IT backs down. Excellent. I love that. So let me see. You're an autocratic presidential republic. I don't want to make them go to census suffrage right now immediately. And colonize Windward Coast. Okay, that's fine. But I am going to start improving relations. So what have you got that I can develop? IT. A lot of devastation over here. Is this devastation? No, it's a wildfire. Oh my, that's pretty rough. All right. So you got some fishing wharves that are productive. You got some tobacco plantations that are productive. And then over here, Some reasonably productive rice farms and tobacco plantations over here as well. So, we'll go ahead and improve those. I don't need artillery foundries too soon. So that's good. So that should get me... Well, it'll get us more progress eventually. Let me see. So, who are other good targets to bring into the Union? I definitely want Venezuela. They don't want to give us investment rights. So, what about 9.5 infamy to make them protectorate? Hold on, I might be able to pull that off, actually. Venezuela is quite weak. If I did this, Great Britain or the Netherlands could potentially step in. I don't want to see Great Britain stepping in on this. So that's off the table for now. What about New Grenada? 14 infamy. Netherlands will definitely step in. Great Britain might. So how about I get myself an alliance with France? France, how are you infamous already? Ah, because you're taking on... You're trying to eat North Africa. You'll do a trade agreement. I don't have a lot of... I'll tell you what. Alright, I can't get an alliance with France yet. So we'll do that. So I can't go too far too fast, but I am going to be doing a lot. Alright, so here's a battle kicking off in the war in Texas. That might... Oh! Texas has been annexed. Interesting. Very interesting. Alright, so here's the Indian removal kicking off. In accordance with the removal treaty, it is time for the Cherokee of North Carolina to relocate to the Indian Territory. Some holdouts refuse to leave their homes, and many are poorly equipped for the journey. My friends, circumstances render it impossible that you can flourish in the midst of our community. You have but one remedy within your reach, and that is to remove west. And the sooner you do this, the sooner you will commence your career of improvement and prosperity. Coerce them by bayonet point. 10% of Cherokee pops in North Carolina lose their lives. And a bunch will move to Oklahoma. Many Cherokee will die along the way or offer some assistance. 5% will die. Similar numbers will move. This will cost us money. I'm going to do the second one. I think it's just plain old inhumane to do it any other way. In terms of the Indian Territory, I'm going to reduce subject payments. It's functionally nothing. Do I exempt them from service? I think maybe. Their liberty desire is pretty low. So it is what it is. Once we've improved relations with all the great powers that are sort of within our reach. Russia's cooperative with us, which is nice. I could improve relations with Russia. That sure would be nice. I'm going to take a break improving relations with France to improve relations with Russia, because I don't want them to be big mad at us. William Cramp and Sons doesn't seem to be productive, so we'll expand them. Wow, that... Oh, because we nationalized the building levels. I didn't even see that. I wasn't even paying attention. Well, gosh, I thought they would fold, but apparently not. Oops, well, lesson learned. The Finney Proviso. Charles Finney, leader of the Evangelicals, has proposed outright prohibiting slavery in all our western territories. Some opponents demand simple moderation, but others are demanding legalization of slavery in all the new territories. This intolerable institution cannot spread its influence any further. A free nation needs free soil if it is to thrive. Reject the proviso. This remains a state-by-state issue. -1 approval from everybody who has an interest, which is Southern planters, trade unions, evangelicals, and intelligentsia. Accept the proviso and abolish slavery in the West. Southern planters big mad, everyone else big happy. Or sorry, that's accept the proviso. Or reject the proviso. Southern planters happy. Everyone else big mad, and expand slavery in the West. So Southern planters are currently at +4. I'm fine with that for now. I can live with that for now. So let's accept the proviso. It's only for 2 years. We don't antagonize them, they'll be back up before time, and then they won't coup the government. damnable southern planters. We should be having an election pretty soon. Yeah, so our election is coming up on in December of 36. Actually, December of 36? That's this year. Yes, we're going to be having an election soon. These construction sectors are not being built as fast as I was assuming they would be. Alright, fishing wharves are getting built. I want to get investment opportunities in a lot of these places. I'm going to go ahead and improve relations with New Grenada. And that's going to help things out significantly. Construction sectors are solid, so how's our economy looking now? Iron continues to be extremely expensive, so we'll need to build up iron mines. Oh my goodness, for whom the bell tolls. The aged Andrew Jackson, leader of the yeoman farmers, has unexpectedly expired mid-campaign, robbing the Democratic Party of a cornerstone politician. The question of his replacement is now on everyone's lips. Unexpected? Bah! That old bag of bones was long overdue to meet his maker. It's about time that party saw some new blood. Go with the popular but inept candidate, 10% momentum to the Democrats. Andrew Jackson dies, a new character appears, or the determined but haughty youngster secures the chair. So how much power does the rural folk have? The rural folk are reasonably strong, but part of that's because... Well, I thought President Jackson was very popular, but apparently not. Let's go with the popular but inept candidate for now. John Calhoun. Oh, it's your boy. Oh my gosh, John Calhoun. You've been trying to become president for a long time. Or no, you're just leader of the slavers. Who the heck am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Henry Clay. Henry Clay won in like the first 6 elections. Okay, so who is this? This is Montgomery Benjamin. A moderate. The popular but inept candidate. Cool. So, we're projecting an election win for the Democratic Party. Let's see how that goes. We're building up production in Haiti right now. I think next we'll get started building iron mines in Pennsylvania to support our large increase in construction sectors. Actually, I could probably afford an even larger increase in construction sectors once I've got the iron. The Trail of Tears. Our efforts to remove the Cherokee from eastern lands has led to the deaths of many during their overland march westward. Measles, cholera, starvation. This removal has created a trail of tears and death for our people. We did what we could. -3 standard of living modifier for Cherokee in Oklahoma. Hold up. Oh my god, that's really bad. That's gnarly. Don't like that. I thought it created a penalty to their standard of living over here in U.S. territory. So does that mean the Cherokee have been fully forcibly relocated at this point? It doesn't appear that they have. Well, almost entirely from Alabama. Georgia, the same. North Carolina, they have been completely relocated. But there are still plenty of Cherokee people living in the South. Alright, we've actually got reach to Oklahoma. So let's start colonizing there. We'll hand that territory over to the Indian Territory once the time comes. And we're building up tobacco plantations in IT. So that should be giving us... Yeah, we got solid economic cooperation with them at this moment. So things should be fine. This isn't an ideal use of our construction capacity, but it's an investment in the future. That's really the takeaway here. In fact, I need to not be improving relations with our protectorate, but improving relations with other protectorates would be useful. New neighbors, new grudges. Missouri. Interesting. So who lives in Missouri? Let's see if we can get a handle on this. Let me see. It's mostly Yanks and Dixielanders. We got a small population of Afro-Americans, very small population of Cajuns and Irish, and vanishingly small, less than 1%, of South Indians and North Germans. A minority group of South Indian people has recently settled in the state of Missouri, seeking a better future. However, the local Dixie elites are stirring up resentment, claiming the South Indian newcomers will destroy their traditional way of life. They don't belong here. Our Dixie customs, our way of life, they'll be lost if we let the South Indians settle, claimed a prominent landowner. His words echoed in the taverns and markets of St. Louis. The newcomers, hopeful but weary, whisper of opportunity but face closed doors and hostile stares. Alright, so, from a social structure perspective, we've got racial segregation, right? Yes, so, racial segregation, 10% acceptance for all cultures, 30% from sharing cultural traits, 50% from sharing heritage traits, and 70% from sharing heritage and cultural. Effects are allows assimilation for everyone not in violent oppression, reduce political strength for an open prejudice or below, and increased for second class or full acceptance, reduced voting for political strength in open prejudice, voting rights for full acceptance second-class citizens and open prejudice only, reduced qualifications for open prejudice or below, reduced wages for open prejudice or below, increased wages for second-class citizens, and even more for fully accepted citizens. Disables upper middle strata work in government buildings for violent hostility and cultural erasure. Disallow work in military buildings for violent hostility. So this is one thing I didn't get into as much in the previous runs, but it's something I should be covering because each of these laws has very different effects on people of various acceptance groups. So now, and of course we also have separation of church and state, which is getting 15% acceptance for all religions. So now let's take a look at society. I believe the South Indian people will be... Wait a minute. There's a better way to find this. If I go to cultures, sort by culture, South Indian. Yeah, base acceptance of +5, or of +50, and then they're going to get 15 from religion. So that's going to put them at 65. So they should be in open prejudice. So they'll be in here somewhere. Perhaps I am wrong. Okay, so this is 40 to 59. So if they're at 65 and they go down to 60, that's not going to change things for them. So, the three options here are the South Indian people must accept their lot. 20% of Dixie and Yankee upper stratum pops become more loyal. 25% of South Indian pops become more radical. And acceptance is reduced by 5. We must foster harmony between peoples, whether South Indian or Dixielander. 5% of pops in the entire state become more radical. Various chances of improving their lot or reducing it. Or the old Dixie ways cannot continue to dominate our Western nation, our modern nation. Slipped the tongue there, Freudian slip there. I mean, I'm gonna be doing democratic imperialism here. Let's not pretend I'm not gonna. That's right. It's role playing. I'm just a dumb jerk off. All right. So old Dixie ways can't continue to dominate our modern nation. 20% of Yankee and Dixie upper stratum pops become more radical. Acceptance of South Indian is improved by 20. So that will improve them to second-class citizenship. I'm going to go with the first one. I was going to leave them where they are for now. And more Yankee and Dixie upper stratum pop loyalists is going to be really, really useful for me in the long term in terms of making sure that my southern planters are pleased. Because I need my southern planters to be pleased with the government. There we go. Perfect. We did it. Looking like no surprises in the election. Democratic Party is going to take a nice solid 59% of the vote. Whig Party is going to get 40%. So we're not going to get an early ban on slavery, which can happen rarely. And improving relations is looking good. Finished out with our tobacco plantations. I'm actually going to make the iron mines first. In fact, I'm going to create more iron mines. New York's got some iron capacity as well, does it not? Yes, it does. So we'll build 4 iron mines in New York as well, and put artillery foundry at the bottom of those. Excellent. So, harvest condition, extreme winds in Georgia and the surrounding states. Education's up to level 3. That's wonderful. Do we have any territories that we have unincorporated that we could incorporate? Yeah. We'll get to incorporating. We'll start incorporating. It's just going to cost us a little bit of bureaucracy. It's not going to be that big of a deal. We are number 6 in the Great Power Rankings, below Prussia. Once relations get a little better with all these great powers, we should be able to continue to do whatever we wish to do with a little bit more impunity. But for now, we've got to be careful. The United States of Central America is continuing to be reasonably strong over here. If I took Ecuador, why can't I take Ecuador? I don't have an interest. I don't have an interest. Alright, well, let's take a look at interest options. I've got an interest available. Let's get interested in the Andes. Alright. And once that's established, we'll see what it's going to take for us to steal the country. Yes, haha, yes. I'm going to leave one interest open just to make sure I don't wind up in a weird situation where one of my interests falls off over in one of these areas. Because that can happen, and it's a weird time. I'm not adjacent to Texas or New Mexico yet, but I also need to keep an eye on that to make sure I get there. Alright, so now I've got my Andes interest activated. If I steal the country, only Bolivia will step in, and I feel reasonably confident in my ability to fight Bolivia. So, let's go. And that means we mobilize the armies, we grab the regular army, and we freeze the conscripts. I'm also going to queue in a few more construction sectors once all these mines are built. I'm just going to double up in all of our big industrial areas. It's going to put us up to 20 construction sectors, and I think that's extremely respectable for the early game. I'm going to throw some conscript units in the Army of Observation. And some in the Army of Florida as well. Oh my gosh, please upgrade these dragoons. That should be just fine. Nobody seems interested in getting involved except Bolivia, and I'm not really concerned about Bolivia. So, we have our first political movement. Oh, we got a bunch of political movements. We've got a large and angry abolitionist movement. That's rad. We've got a liberal movement. That's rad. We've got a pro-slavery movement. Don't love it, but it is what it is. We've got an American supremacist movement. Don't love that. And we've got a Protestant traditionalist movement. Rock solid. We got a Catholic rights movement, which so far doesn't have anybody in it, but may soon be. I can modify the government, but I can't get a legitimate government by doing so, so we'll continue to do what we're doing. A wildfire in Oklahoma. Well, that's a shame. The Indian removal. In accordance with the removal treaty, it is time for the Cherokee of South Carolina to relocate to the Indian Territory. Some holdouts refuse to leave their homes, and many are poorly equipped for the journey. My friend's circumstances rendered it impossible to... Okay, we've seen this event before. I'm going to offer some assistance for the journey, same as I did before. It's just the sensible thing to do at this point. It is what it is. Take a look at this army. Mostly line infantry and dragoons. And line infantry. Alright, so I'm reasonably confident. It doesn't seem as though they've gotten... Yeah, they didn't get Bolivia in on their side. So I'm just going to kind of continue to do what I'm currently doing. I'm not going to steal anything from them because I want their loyalty in my power block. That's an important thing. Ooh, getting a little short on steel production. So let's throw some steel mills in... I think Pennsylvania is where our existing steel mills are. They can't hire. Why can't they hire? Weird. Alright. Silly step mass immigration. Excellent. So I think when the war kicks off, we'll go ahead and end the episode. And that will be what it is. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is get my naval invasion started. We'll send the regular army for that. It's going to take a long time because there's no Panama Canal. Alright, my nerds, that is all we've got for this episode. I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.